You're listening to the TransformationCoach.me podcast, and I'm your host, Adam Shively. Let's get after it. All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of the TransformationCoach.me podcast. How you doing out there, folks? It's your buddy Adam. I am super psyched. I had the great pleasure and opportunity to do an interview with Ruth LaRose. And Ruth is from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and she's lost 155 pounds over the last 5 years. And she has one heck of a good transformation story going. And we covered topics like her nutrition and fitness regimen, just the basics. We kind of dove into those because I know you guys like to pull some key tips from those sorts of things. We also talked about how she started with just 5-minute workouts because that's basically what she could do at weighing almost 400 pounds, and then built up to doing full boot camp workouts and how she did that. We talked about the importance of finding a supportive fitness tribe and finding that crew to roll with along your transformation journey. We talk about her largest transformation danger zones and even what advice she would give somebody if you were there asking her for advice and you are just starting your transformation journey. Guys, you're going to love this. Ruth is so real. I became friends with her on Instagram. I've been following her story, and I was like, we got to get you on the show because you have a unique perspective and a great story to tell that's going to inspire other people. So she dove in. This is her first podcast interview, and she did an awesome job. So I'm really, really excited. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to my friend, Ruth LaRose. All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of the TransformationCoach.me podcast. It's your buddy, Adam. I am here, and I'm so excited. We've got another transformation success story. I'm just dedicated to bringing you guys stories of people that are out there crushing it so that they can help you get inspired. I like to show you all types of different people from all walks of life so that you know that you can relate with some of these people and say, hey, I can do it too. And today, from Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin, we've got Ruth LaRose. She is on the line with me, and we are so excited to have her. Ruth, I want to just kick this off, and we're going to dive right into it. My listeners know that I don't play around with all these weird details or anything. I want to get right to the facts that people can dig into and say, hey, that really is inspiring. So I want you to just start off and talk about kind of your story of how you got to the point where you felt like you were ready for a change with your transformation.
Okay. Thank you, Adam, for having me. I've kind of dealt with my weight my whole entire life. I was an overweight child. When I was 12, I weighed about 114 pounds, and I thought I was pretty fat at that time. So it's always been in my head, and I progressed, and then I would lose weight, and then I would gain weight. And the highest weight I've been is around 400 pounds, which was about 5 years ago. Yeah. And I started thinking, I'm getting older. I don't want to live my life like this. And so I started thinking in my head, well, you're going to be turning a certain age, and you got to start doing something. And plus, I was starting to have a lot of health problems. I had sleep apnea. I had gone and did a test, and it was like I stopped breathing 50 times an hour. And wow. Right. And I had cortisone shots in my legs. I would go to work and I would think, oh my gosh, I have to walk to the bathroom because I thought it was so far.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it sounds crazy, but when you're in that frame of mind, and you might not even realize how heavy you are, but you know your body is telling you, but you still don't totally believe it, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was also kind of in an unhappy relationship, and we ate out a lot, and we ate a lot of fast food because it was cheap, easy, and I mean, we would probably go at least 10 times a week. And that's when I really started, putting on the weight, obviously. So I started thinking, and I bought a Biggest Loser DVD.
Nice.
I used to watch The Biggest Loser.
Yep.
And I put it in at my apartment, and, I couldn't even stand for 10 minutes. And basically the video starts off with maybe about 20-minute workout, and I remember Bob on there would say, just move if you can't do this. So I started off with like maybe 10 minutes or 5 even.
Wow.
And then I progressed to where I started walking around the block. And the first time it was just like I was bawling my head off by the time I got back to the door because it hurt so bad. My body hurt,
Right.
So that's how I kind of decided, well, you need to make a change. You're not getting younger. You're so unhealthy, and you're so unhappy. I wouldn't even want to go anywhere. I was kind of like wanting just to be at home because I didn't want people to look at me, kind of thing.
Right. So your story, I've heard a lot of different variations of that. I think a lot of people that are listening in right now will be able to pull a few things like, yeah, I've been there. I've dealt with that. Something that popped into my head is when you talked about, doing your workout, doing your walk, and your body just aching so bad that it would put you into tears. What made you do it anyway? When you knew that it was going to be like that, but you kept doing it and kept making progress, what was kind of in your head? What was driving you to keep showing up and keep going after it?
I think it was just the thought of, I'm just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I don't know if it was, prayers, a lot of, God, please help me to do this. And, a little motivation from friends. I started meeting some friends that worked out. So I think just that support really helped me.
Yeah, that's another common trait that I see when we talk to people that have lost a significant amount of weight is they kind of get their tribe. They get that supportive group of friends. And then a lot of times there are some of those friends or family members that tend to kind of be haters a little bit. They see you making changes, and sometimes that makes them insecure almost with things that they're dealing with. They haven't had the courage yet to face. Did you see any of that with friends or family members where they felt like they were kind of almost trying to hold you back, or they weren't really on board with you trying to get the things done that you were trying to go after?
Fortunately, not too bad.
That's great.
So I'm very thankful for that. I mean, I have had to let go of a few people in my life because of wanting to be more healthy. Yeah,
that's common. It's part of the sacrifice. So let's dive into some of the specifics. What would you say, nutrition and fitness wise? I know that you mentioned the Biggest Loser, you did some walking. What kind of nutrition, what kind of fitness routines have you found that you've had the most success with?
The most success would be just eating healthy. I mean, I've done this all on my own, no surgery. I'm not, that was just the road that I took.
Yep.
Drinking water. My friend's brother is a personal trainer in our community, and he had these classes that you could join for $5 he started at a park. And I remember I was almost 300 pounds by then. And I started going, and from there it just, I thought, well, it's affordable. I mean, I feel kind of dumb because I'm weighing this much and I'm trying to exercise, but everybody was so encouraging and friendly, and everybody was at their own level anyway.
Yep.
So those workouts had really started me and helped me through at least, I've been with him for about 5 years. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to build up to that? Because I know I'm just trying to get into some of the details, because when somebody, you've obviously had an amazing transformation, and I know a lot of the people listening in will want to pull out some of those tactics and tips. So So how long do you feel like it took you from going to the Biggest Loser DVDs and doing walking to getting into that first group class?
I would say at least 1 year.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. And for those of you that are listening in and that are in that situation, maybe you weigh 300 plus pounds, 400 pounds, 500 pounds. I like Ruth's method of being patient with herself. We tend to put a lot of high expectations on, I want to lose it all like yesterday. And a lot of people will cave underneath that huge amount of pressure, and they never follow through on the transformation process. So good for you, Ruth. I mean, that's huge, of just going at a pace that works for you, getting results, and building up to that next level without all that, all that internal pressure that people tend to put on themselves. So that's super awesome. Nutrition wise, clean eating, like, do you feel like you follow kind of a balanced carb, protein, fat, or higher carb, lower carb? What types of strategies do you tend to go with on nutrition?
I usually go with a lower carb for me. That's really helped. So, healthy carbs like brown rice and just a limited amount. That's pretty,
perfect.
Veggies and good proteins.
Cool. So what types of like what's an average day of eating kind of look like for you? Like timing wise, food wise, just give me that kind of a basic average Ruth healthy eating day.
I try to eat every few hours, and, like maybe an oatmeal and then some chicken and veggies and maybe a little rice, and then an afternoon snack, maybe some veggies and hummus, and then a dinner.
Awesome. So what would you say? Go ahead, Ruth.
I just try to space it out so I don't have any kind of carb, or like insulin, where you get tired. It really helps me to space out the food. And
yeah. So what would you say would be like one go-to like snack or meal that you're like, okay, if I'm really got to fight off the cravings, this is what I go to, and it always saves the day? What would you say that would be?
If I'm trying to avoid a deep craving.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like if you're really feeling like, oh, I might have a little crash and burn here, but I'm going to do something healthy instead, what kind of food do you look to kind of come to the rescue?
I like doing some Greek yogurt with maybe a few chocolate chips.
There you go.
Not like
2
handfuls, but
yeah.
That really helps. It's kind of like a nice little treat for me, and then instead of going off and eating a huge thing of ice cream or something. Right.
Do you ever try to incorporate like cheat days or cheat meals or anything like that? Have you ever messed with that strategy at all?
I have, but sometimes it ends up to be like a weekend cheat, not like.
Yeah.
I've become more consistent in just trying to have maybe one day or one meal.
Yeah.
That's what I do for me.
Yeah. No, that's what I found with our clients. And, I've done a couple podcasts on a topic that I call the cheat bank, where I feel like, especially people that have lost a lot of weight, there can be a real easy, slippery slope to get caught up in, like you said, the cheat weekend, or if you do a cheat on a Friday and then boom, Saturday, Sunday become cheat days also. And then all of a sudden it's a week and it's 2 weeks, and it can really be troublesome. I think kind of mapping out things in advance, that's important. I talk about that a lot on the show here. So I'll email you a couple of resources that I have that deal with mapping out cheat days and kind of thinking ahead, booking them, and then holding yourself accountable to that, and then measuring results. I think you'll like it. So I'll send you some stuff on that. And of course in the blog, when we get this posted, guys, I'll post anything that I send to Ruth. You guys are getting for free too. So I'll put that in the blog as well. Let's talk about obstacles. So what would you say? Obviously you've lost over 150 pounds. That is like an entire human being. So that's just a really huge accomplishment. But what would you say would be one or two of the hardest obstacles that you face so far? Things that have just kind of shaken the foundation a little bit here and there, or that have caused a little bit of a backslide or anything like that? What would you say that would be?
I would say for me, one would be my thinking process. You spend your whole life thinking a certain way and turning to food maybe for comfort or just, it's a social thing. I would really say I've had to deal with kind of even like stop and think before you eat this, or do you really need this food, or why are you eating this kind of thing.
Right.
And changing my attitude of how I feel about me as a person. Because when you're overweight your whole life, you kind of have these things that might have happened to you, like maybe you were bullied, or maybe, people have put you down because of your weight. These things have happened to me, but it doesn't make me who I am today. So, just kind of dealing with all that stuff is a big thing for me.
No, I think
sometimes
that's huge.
Yeah,
the thing with people that sometimes people that have lost a significant amount of weight, the thing they'll deal with a lot of times too is just accepting, like you said, kind of the new you in this new body that can do things like boot camp workouts, or that can do a 5K, or that, and just kind of letting go of that old you. And it's kind of like coming out of a cocoon almost. And then you realize, hey, I can do this, and I don't have to doubt myself anymore with my physical abilities or my self-confidence and things like that. So that's something that a lot of people deal with. So it's, I know that, I've lost over 100 pounds myself too. And just being able to, I just remember the first time I bought clothes at a regular size store and I didn't have to have anything altered at all. And I was like, wow, that's kind of weird, and
right.
And so dealing with those, quote unquote, normal sized people things, like I've got a lot of clients that will ride a roller coaster for the first time, or sit on an airplane and feel comfortable in an airplane. And so those are big moments when you kind of have to just do a little self-check and self-analysis and just be proud of yourself and realize, okay, this is the new me. I'm creating this personal momentum. I can let go of some of that old stuff. So, that's just, I see a lot of people deal with that type of thinking.
I think too, like what you're saying is so important. And someone just recently told me this is, look to what you are becoming, even if you still have a little bit you want to do. You've come from where you are, and it's okay to look back and say, oh, wow. But now, reach out and accept what you are becoming. So I think that is another step in the journey,
Huge. I have this diagram that I use that I call the transformation timeline. And I put it, any transformation I can kind of categorize into 3 phases. The first phase is what I call the coachability phase, where people just decide that they sign up for something, they decide whether or not they're going to actually follow the program. And then the second phase is they move into what I call the lifestyle solidification phase, where you kind of make this new thing your new lifestyle. And that's a really hard place to be. Most people don't even get there. But where you're at is what I call the new purpose, new identity phase, where you're kind of just solidifying this new you and just kind of getting comfortable in this new body and this body that can perform differently. So it's a cool place to be. But you also, this might be a good time to kind of pivot a little bit. So as you continue to lose weight and body fat and get stronger, are you setting other types of goals? Like what kind of goals are you kind of turning to now that keep you motivated now that you're 5 years into this transformation? What kind of things are you looking at to keep the fire going right now?
Well, one thing I am exploring is the skin removal surgery.
Yep.
That is a goal that I would like to do. I think that keeps me motivated. I'm not sure how that all works, but that's one thing. Just knowing that I'm helping other people, that helps me to keep going. as far
Well,
as
that's a huge one. I mean, just being, that's so people that kind of hit that third phase, that new purpose, new identity, kind of rediscovering the new you. A lot of those people end up, they like, I just went through this whole big transformation process, and now I want to drag some other people through because it was so much fun, and I'm kind of coming out the other side of the tunnel, but I know that I can help others too. And I can tell you, you get just as much of a kick out of that, even more so. Like for me, I've helped over 15 people in my hometown lose over 100 pounds, and helping them do what I did, it's awesome. It's like, wow, that's even better, because just knowing that you made an impact on someone else's life adds a lot of quality and meaning to your own life and, why you're here. So, I think that's an awesome motivator. Anything else that you wanted to add to that?
I have been asked to maybe represent a workout clothing line called
Nice.
Depot.
Nice.
The person that owns the business is like 28, and he's starting, to make gym wear. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm a little nervous because, I'm not at that place where I feel like I have this, gym-looking body, but I think it's more of a goal for me to keep going, and just, if I am representing something also, people can look and say, okay, this person may not be, hard body person right now, but they're doing something to help people, and they're inspiring people with this clothing line.
Yeah,
so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the reason I reached out to you on Instagram is because I was just following your story. So 100%, I was like, this woman is real. She's doing something significant, and it's inspiring, and you're super positive. So like, I don't think it's about, the quote unquote gym body look or anything like that. It's people realize when somebody's doing something significant, and that adds value. So I think you should have a lot of confidence with whatever, you're obviously getting some attention from just being out there and sharing your story. So, and hopefully this will help even more. We'll get you everybody connected with Ruth on her social media and all that stuff, so you can cheer her on. So we'll do that before we wrap up. But it's just something
that would be awesome. I'd love to have other people.
Yeah, exactly. But you're kind of transitioning to a leadership mode, and your confidence is just going to grow and grow and grow. So it won't necessarily be the mindset of, oh, my body isn't quite there yet. Your body is your body, and you're creating it. There's only going to be one you, and you're going to, be in charge of who that is and who you become. So I think you got some great things in store. So I'm going to be excited to keep following the story. That's for sure.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, my pleasure. What would you consider to be kind of your keys to success? So if you could just rattle off a few things that you think like these are the foundational things that I have to keep doing so that I can keep going in the right direction.
Exercise, eat healthy, be honest, because
Good.
I can maybe go and eat a huge thing of ice cream and maybe 10 cookies and not tell anybody.
Right.
But who is it really hurting? It's hurting me.
Right.
It's my body, it's my story, my weight loss. If I'm trying to just not tell anybody, who's going to know, but I'm still hurting me. Do you know what I mean? So I want to be honest about just staying honest about what I'm eating. And, if I slip up, I slip up, but I don't have to hide it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, the weight loss game is so mental, and obviously you know this, but I think a lot of people out there kind of think that they are the oddball when they get in their own head and they're like, oh, I'm the only person that gets in my own head about weight loss. I'm like, no, everybody gets in their own head about weight loss. And we've all had that moment where you're like sitting in your car eating, Dairy Queen or Pizza Hut or Taco Bell or whatever by yourself. And you just kind of having a moment. And then all of a sudden you realize like, why did I just do that? And I think so many of us have been there. So any of you that are listening in, like, you just got to know that the mental game, the mental component of this is for real. And pretty much every podcast episode I do, it's mostly about strategy and thinking, about your transformation process and digging into your danger zones and things like that. So, well, speaking of danger zones, what would you say would be kind of a major danger zone that pops up for you? Like, a lot of people would be like work stress or, lack of time to get workouts in or anything like that. Is there anything that you feel like is kind of a roadblock or a danger zone that you tend to worry about on and off?
I would probably say just stress in general.
Yeah.
Is kind of a danger zone because, I automatically want to just eat to fill the feeling when,
right.
I'm probably going to feel worse after because then I have the whole guilt cycle of why did I eat then? No, on and on. So, yeah, stress.
Yeah. So you are a normal human being. Very good. Yes. The stress monster attacks us all. That is. I think I put up a video on my Instagram account today talking about dealing with stress, and the first line was like, "Stress is for real." I mean, it's how we react to stress that matters, because it's not going anywhere. So, I think it's just important to keep sharpening the saw and keep coming up with strategies. That's why I just hammer on this podcast with my clients that you have to, think ahead with these danger zones. Like, I encourage people to look out 4 weeks in advance and look at any potential danger zones, transformation traps, stress points, travel, relatives coming into town, just being around stressful people or whatever, extra work, extra busy work periods, and saying, all right, let's think of just one idea that I can use to be better prepared for that moment, and just thinking ahead. That way, when that moment hits, you've already thought about it a little bit. And you're like, okay, let's try this strategy out. And then even if it doesn't work, you can still learn and say, well, that didn't work. What else could I try next time? So it's kind of not, like you said, it's really easy to get in that self-defeating mindset of, oh, I had a little crash and burn moment, and then you kind of backpedal a little bit with your momentum. So it helps, I think, thinking ahead like that. So it's more of from a perspective of, I'm just learning. And I think that's another important thing to think about with where you're at in your transformation, is that you are still learning, and you're kind of going to that next level where you're also becoming a leader and an inspiration, and you're learning how to do that. So I would encourage you to take a little bit of pressure off yourself and just think, I'm learning how to do this. I'm learning how to be the new me, and I'm just going to make notes and keep getting better. I may hit a danger zone and it may throw me out of whack a little bit, but I can learn from that and say, all right, I'm not going to let that same exact thing happen again, because I got better, because I learned. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool. Okay. Last big question, and then we'll get into, I know my audience is going to want to connect with you. We'll get to that. Don't worry, guys. We will get to that. So we've talked about your story and how you kind of got to that point where you were ready to make a change. So let's say that you are talking to somebody that's in that exact same position. Like, they have dealt with being overweight for a long period of time, and they have finally decided, I'm ready. I'm ready to make a change. What advice would you give somebody that's sitting in that position right now?
Well, the first thing I would advise is to set small goals. When I started, one thing that I just started doing is I stopped eating fast food as much. I might not have completely stopped cold turkey, but I stopped. And then I also would say, okay, I'm going to do 5 pounds. And then when I'd get to the next weight bracket, I'd say, okay, 5 more. Because if I looked at, oh my gosh, I have like 200 pounds to lose, that's so daunting.
Yeah, it's intimidating.
So I think setting small goals, and if you fall off the wagon, this is one thing that I've really learned too, don't spend the rest of the day falling off.
That's huge, Ruth.
Yeah.
That is huge. I mean, that I preach on that where if you take a cheat meal, it doesn't have to turn into a cheat day. That's up to you. So that I'm glad you said that. That's awesome. All right. What else? What other kind of advice would you give?
Also, I would say you need to be accountable. Maybe you can find a buddy or someone that is striving to be healthy and be accountable to them. And what I mean is, someone that's actually taking steps to become healthy.
Right.
For me, I don't want to go out to eat and talk about being healthy because I'm trying to eat better. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I'm just saying, if maybe your partner is kind of struggling, maybe find a girlfriend or something that is trying to lose weight too. Just so you can build each other up. And
yep. That's huge. Surrounding yourself, kind of like I said at the beginning, kind of finding your tribe and not, you may have a few surprises in there with people that you didn't think would be super supportive, and they will, and you'll have the opposite. But the key thing is you just kind of keep leading by example, and eventually people will either figure it out or fall in line, or like you said, sometimes people fall out a little bit and you lose track of people, and that's sad. But the key thing is you're no good to anybody if you're not around. So that's got to happen first. So,
right, exactly.
Cool. Now, I know that you mentioned kind of, speaking of the tribe and the people that kind of inspire you that you work out with. Do you want to give anybody a shout out? I know your local gym, anybody like that that you want to give a shout out to. I'll be sure to link them up in the notes too. I'll get their website and things like that from you, or whatever you want to share, and that way they can people can check them out if they're in the area. So who would you say you want to kind of give a shout out to?
First, it would be my friend Jeff Michaels. He does a human health report here in our area where he talks to many people about different health issues, and so that's really helped our community. And,
that's awesome.
And I also have just joined a new gym called Highland Fitness, and I'm actually doing the boot camps and the Tabata tortures and the semi-privates, and they're very supportive, and it's kind of like the next chapters in my life, going there and meeting new people and just upping the workouts.
They seem awesome because I've been following your workout action on Instagram, and I really, I love your little reports and get the whole group together taking pics, and it seems like a really cool group. Real quick, like how has that made a difference for you? So I know your transformation is kind of going to a different level. It seems like you're doing harder and harder workouts. What kind of a difference has that made to have that crew that you're kind of connecting with there at your new gym?
It's very cool because, I get different trainers that have different perspectives, and then your body's kind of changing up, so you're not really stuck in a certain routine. And, they're seeing, like, what I've learned just now with their encouragement is, breaking mental barriers. If you're in this class, everybody's sweating to death, you're doing it, this kind of thing, maybe it's something little like, I actually squat lower because, my knees kind of hurt and I have to wear knee braces. But anyway, things like that, just them being there. And like, some days I've bawled my head off at the gym because it's emotional still. It's, you're doing things that you thought you could never do. And then you look around, you're like, okay, everybody's dying here. It's not just because I have a little extra weight, but everybody is working hard.
Yep. No, that's awesome. And that's what I love about, my gym that I own is just the stories like that. Everybody coming together in one unit to just push forward and help. Everybody kind of feeds off of each other's energy. So that's fantastic. Anybody else that you want to give a shout out to real quick?
Just the Depot clothing that I'll probably have, a little blip once I get going with that on my Instagram, so people could check that out too. Perfect.
And guys, I will put links in the blog and in the show notes for the podcast on iTunes and on SoundCloud with anything that she's mentioned here. Ruth, what social media, where can people find you on social?
Instagram, it's Ruth's Journey _kaleidoscope.
Perfect. And then on Facebook, do you have an open Facebook account?
Actually, it's private, but
okay, cool. Well, they can friend you on Instagram first, and then if you decide that they're not weirdos, then
yeah, exactly.
That's the filter. So you guys got to go through Instagram and prove yourself that you're not weird to Ruth, and then she will allow you to see her Facebook page. That's how it should be anyway. But her, if you gave me a spelling test on how to spell kaleidoscope, I would have no idea how to spell it. So I will put that in the show notes for sure, and that way we will, it's like I before E except after kaleidoscope. I don't know. So we'll get that in the show notes and make sure that you guys can link up with Ruth. I highly, highly recommend that you check out her Instagram page and root her on. Give her a comment. Say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. Way to go. And just keep cheering her on because this lady has got it going on. She's got great momentum. She's just super positive. And Ruth, I just wanted to just kind of cap this off and acknowledge you for what you've done. Like I said, you've done a tremendous thing. You've lost over 150 pounds, which is just super, super special. It takes so much mental focus and effort. Forget all the physical, all the sweat, all the energy and the time and money and effort you've put into that. Just the mental moment where you decide, hey, I have to change. I have to completely reverse my life's momentum. And I'm going to do something about it because if I don't, nobody else will for me. And you just take your life, you take control of your life again and then move forward. So I'm just super proud of you. I want to acknowledge you for that. And your story is going to continue on. So I'm excited to keep following you. Down the road, we might have to do a recap, another catch-up episode and see where you're at and what kind of cool things you're doing. And, we'll keep our readers and listeners posted on all your successes. Sound good?
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Adam. I couldn't think of a better person to talk with and share my story. You're amazing. Also, just thank you so much.
Well, my pleasure, Ruth. That's what I do. I'm here to help inspire people and get everybody fired up about fitness. All right, guys. So it's been a great show with Ruth. Hopefully you are fired up and excited and you're ready to take on that next challenge, just like Ruth has proven for herself in her own transformation process. For now, I'm going to tell you to get out there. I want you to own it every meal, every workout, every day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, before you guys head out, I just want to remind you really quickly to come and check out my free Facebook support group, the Defeat the Cheat group. You can head on over to www.defeatthecheat.com. That will redirect you directly to the place where you can join our free Facebook support group. It is awesome. These people are on fire. If you guys struggle with being consistent with your nutrition and your fitness, and you need a little bit of support, a little bit of mojo, a little bit of help, we've got it for you. We've got your back. All nutrition plans, all workout systems are welcome. There's no judgment there. It's no, our program is better than your program. It's about following the program and supporting you on your own transformation journey. I'm telling you, it's awesome. We're doing 14-day challenges. We're sharing recipes, motivational quotes, tips. Every day there's something on there that's going to inspire you. I guarantee it. So come on over, check it out, www.defeatthecheat.com. We'll see you inside the group.